to Slasher Sunday. Welcome to the new setup. We've got new lighting. We put the mic back on since I got some audio issue complaints, of course. It wasn't even issues, it was that it was too low. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'll put the mic back on. So yeah, we've got a magenta fill light over here. We've got a key light right here. We got a backlight up there, and of course we've added some of my masks, which especially does well for Slasher Sunday. So what do you guys think about this lighting and the audio and the setup and all of that? The light, the light, all of that stuff. I want to know. So last night we watched The Suicide Squad, followed by Freaky. I had seen Freaky, I saw it in theaters, but I wanted to show it to Kaylee. And it was also on HBO. So I was like, oh, cool. I've been wanting to show this to you. It'll be a fun little Slasher Sunday. So I saw this in theaters opening day because I really like Christopher Landon. I think he's a really cool filmmaker. I've enjoyed, I think, everything he's ever made. From Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, Paranormal Activity 2 through 5, to the Happy Death Day movies, whatever. I've enjoyed everything off the top of my head I can think of that he's had a hand in. I've enjoyed. If there's something else that I'm missing, maybe I don't like something he's done, but to my knowledge, and then there's this, so I'll be curious. And I really wish we could get a Happy Death Day 3. Like, I really want another film in that series, but I don't think that's ever going to happen, which is a damn shame. Now, Freaky, I feel like, is what Happy Death Day would have been like if it was R-rated. And I'll tell you, when I saw this in theaters, I think this was like right before COVID. So like, it was last year or the year before. I think it was last year. I think it was right before COVID hit and quarantine and the theaters shutting down. I think I went and saw this. And it was so great to see a slasher in theaters again and a gory one. Like, this has some cool ass kills. And Vince Vaughn really brings it in this. I think he's fantastic in this film. Like, the way he's able to balance these two characters of being this psychopathic killer and then being this teenage girl, he plays both, especially the teenage girl. I mean, Vince Vaughn as a teenage girl is pretty funny in its own, but I think he does a damn good job. And I think also on the flip side of that, Catherine Newton, I think is her name, right? That's the girl from Paranormal Activity 4. She does a great job too imitating the psycho killer. And Kaylee pointed this out, something I didn't think of in the moment because I kind of got gender confused in my head while watching this because it's the killer is male in a female's body. So I didn't really even realize that for the majority of this movie, it's a female slasher. We don't get many female slasher villains in slasher movies. I can think of very, very few off the top of my head. So you can technically throw this on, although even in the movie, the guy, I think it was the girl, she was like, pronouns. And it was silly, but it's like, no, it's a guy, it's not a girl, it's a man in her body. Anyway, so this movie starts off on Wednesday the 11th, and of course it culminates on Friday the 13th, which we're actually having this month. August 13th is Friday the 13th. So we got a Friday the 13th coming up here in 1 week from today, which is cool. And all right, so one thing that I can definitely say from this film and many other films and life experience is that for the most part, of course, there's exceptions to every rule, I really, really just don't like teenagers. I really don't like them. They annoy the fuck out of me. Of course, it's an awkward age. We all went through it for the most part. I mean, unless you're not a teenager yet, or if you are still a teenager, you're annoying as fuck. Let me tell you what. It's a difficult time in your life, right? Like, you don't really know who you are, or you don't have like this established identity yet, but you still have enough of a personality. And of course, it's all about image. So you gotta like project this persona of like knowing everything or being cool, even though you don't really know anything yet. And you're not really that cool because you haven't accomplished anything, you don't really know anything. There's people who kind of are naturally cool in a way. They seem to just get it right out the gate. But obviously there's a lot of like socially awkward or just straight up awkward kids. But that really doesn't have much to do with it. The awkwardness isn't why I dislike teens. It's just that, that overly aggressive desire to be noticed, to be heard, to be, edgy and, going against the norm and all that shit. It's like, I get it, and of course they want to be super bombastic and they have all this energy and they feel like they're invincible and they want to prove how tough or cool they are, or it's grating. And I get it though. We were all there. I was an annoying teen, I'm sure, and I'm sure you were as well. But fuck, I hate them. I hate them. And the way they, now of course in films they exaggerate them even more than they already are in real life, but it's still close enough that it makes me be like, God, I fucking hate teens. So we got the high school here, and I will say with the high school students, they at least all look high school age for the most part, which is good. I don't feel like I see that enough. I feel like all the kids in high school are typically considerably older looking, and these ones actually look like they'd be in high school, so that's good. So we get some really cool kills in the opening here. We get a wine bottle shoved down a guy's throat and then broken inside his throat. If you guys remember, there was a video years ago around the 2 Girls 1 Cup days, where this guy like put a mason jar inside his ass and it like broke inside of him. Oh my God, you want to talk about one of the most gruesome videos you could ever watch in your life. This was back when everyone was watching these like sicko videos. It's funny how crazy popular 2 Girls 1 Cup became, right? Like, I don't know, like would that become popular now? Like if 2 Girls 1 Cup came out now, would it become as popularized? Or, I don't even know where you could share it. Facebook would block it, Instagram would block it, every fucking thing would block it. But it was just this viral thing where like everyone went around showing it to each other. No, 2 Girls 1 Cup. Would that happen today? Like popularity wise? Maybe. I don't know. Is there any other popularized disgusting things these days? It's just all fucking memes and like TikTok dances and shit. But whatever. Which is probably better for your mind. Honestly, seeing 2 Girls 1 Cup is not something you ever want to fucking see or remember at all. It's horrendous. Anyway, and then this other girl gets her head smashed into a toilet, and then it like hard cuts over to this couple having sex, and then I guess the girl gets off. I think is what happens here, or she's just done. I don't know if she climaxes or not. I'm gonna say she does. And he's like, wait, I didn't get mine, because that's why I think it. I think he says something along those lines, like, I didn't get mine, like, you got yours, I didn't get mine. And she's like, well, you're taking too fucking long. And yeah, this is funny because of course the dynamic of sex as we typically know it is that the sex is finished once the guy finishes, right? And obviously, especially with teenagers, oh my God, especially with teenagers, it's almost 99% of the time only the guy. So in this scenario, it's kind of flipped around on it. It's like, yeah, doesn't that suck? Like, this should be a lesson to you. Like, girls should definitely be like, if a guy just keeps orgasming and doesn't do anything for you, then just don't let him finish, like, a few times in a row, and be like, do you get it now? So are we gonna do me too? Because this isn't happening anymore until I get it too. Because now you know how it feels, and it's horrible. So, but as I said, in high school, it's almost always the guy. But it is funny. I get it though. Like a girl can continue and a guy really can't after the fact. So it makes sense that that's where it ends for the most part. But I like to see that kind of flipped around, especially on a teen. We get a tennis racket in the head where it's like broken apart and it's stuck in both sides. That one's okay, I guess. And then this other kill is he like throws this like spear or javelin, whatever, and it sticks into the wall, and then that kind of pays off later as he brings her around and he smashes her into it, like, you know, maybe 5 minutes later in the film. So it's kind of cool. It's a setup kill. Like, it sets up the implement in which is going to be used on her for her demise later on. It's kind of cool. And then, so the teacher in this, the shop teacher, played by Cameron from Risky Business. This guy, I feel like, unless I'm forgetting somebody, Landon definitely only kills people you want dead. Like, when our main character, once the body swap takes place, right? Once our girl here is the killer, I feel like she only kills shitty people. Like, he doesn't take the risk of her killing one of her friends, killing her mom, killing her sister, killing her dog, killing, you know, anybody. One of her friends on the street, whatever. It's all just shitty people, right? She kills these jocks that you want dead. She kills her shop teachers you want dead. She kills this nosy little bitch who's talking shit about her for being a lesbian in the bathroom. Like, everybody she kills sucks, you know? And I don't know. In a way, it's fine, because at the end of the day, we just want to see the kills, and it's cathartic when they suck like that. But at the same time, I don't know. It felt like it took away from the film a little bit and made it a little bit more light. But that is what the film is. It is light. Happy Death Day is kind of a playful horror film, and so is this. Even though it's R-rated, it's still playful. It's still Vince Vaughn acting like a fucking 16, 17-year-old girl kissing a boy in the backseat of a car kind of stuff, which is pretty awesome for Vince Vaughn to do, that scene. I mean, for him to actually, like, kiss a young boy acting like a young girl for some kind of cheesy horror film at this stage in his career, I don't know. I thought that was pretty great of him, so good on him for that. Funny scene, too. Let's wait until my hand's not bigger than your face. But yeah, it's kind of a light, fluffy film with some violent death scenes. But the film is definitely playful. I mean, obviously it's a take on Freaky Friday, and that's a Disney movie. And this is like a gory version of it. So it stays kind of that playful tone throughout. I mean, it doesn't really have any super dark parts to it. Yeah, the opening, I guess, is like a traditional slasher opening. But even that is playful. It's kind of silly and goofy, and it knows what it is. It's self-aware, and that's fine. But I guess it would have brought the tone down a lot, right? Had it been like that. But anyway. But this teacher seriously sucks. Like, her report is due in on the 16th, and it's the 12th. And he's like, I'm sick of your shit and this and that. It's like, if a teacher tells you that something's due on the 16th, and then on the 12th is giving you shit, like, why isn't it done yet? I would go to the principal. I'd be like, yo, he gave me till the 16th, and he's like belittling me in front of my classmates. What is this bullshit? So absolutely not. This guy sucks so bad, and when he gets cut in half like that, man, that's so good. That's so good. This is yet another film where we're supposed to believe this girl is unattractive in school. And all it takes is her pulling her hair back, putting on a leather jacket, and putting on some lipstick, and then all of a sudden she's, you know, coveted by every dude in the school. Come on, man. Catherine Newton is gorgeous. There's not a teen boy that wouldn't think so. And I don't care if she's in a mascot costume like she is. Trust me, every dude in that school would be trying to bed her. And for them to pick on her like that, there's no way. As pretty as she is, it's bullshit. It's total nonsense. So, yet again, here we go with that. But it is what it is. So she's the nerdy girl in school, and she's the mascot. No one's paying attention to her. And then this guy attacks her because her mom is such a good mom. She gets drunk and falls asleep while a known murderer is on the loose, killing teenagers in their town. Sick mom. Awesome. Good job. But anyways, yeah, she gets body swapped, and then this is when the gimmick of the film starts, and we get the swap, and really it just comes down to Vince Vaughn's performance in this. I really like the scene between her and her mom, Vince Vaughn and her mom, and it does turn awkward at the end, but that's a really good emotional sequence. Like, in a film like this, I don't think like most people would even give that kind of a scene credit, but I felt like there was some really deep stuff in there about like her kind of being able to see a side of her mom she doesn't normally get to see, and kind of get some closure and some therapy in a way. It's therapeutic for her to hear her mom and to have that conversation. It's great for her mom too. So it's a really good scene. And then, of course, it turns kind of awkward with the Marty McFly, Back to the Future kind of thing, where he's like she's asking her out, and she's like, no, wait, I'm this and I'm married. The reactions of him and all that stuff is great. He's just so fantastic in this, when he's, trying to prove that he's her. And they're doing and he's doing the dance, and he really gives it his all in this. I mean, he really is like, imagine being on set as Vince Vaughn and pretending to be like a girl like this. He's got to be sitting there like, God, I feel stupid right now, but he gave it, and I think he killed, man. I think he did a great job. And then, yeah, okay, I said this before and I'll say it again. First thing I would do if I was a woman is I would have an orgasm. I would play with myself, whatever I had to do to have an orgasm, because I want to know the difference. I want to know what it feels like. I want to know. I'm so curious on this. I can't fucking stop thinking about it. It's crazy to me. But anytime I see this in a movie where someone body swaps, I'm like, I just want to know. Is it as intense? Is it more? Is it less? Is it different? Is it like, what does it feel like? Is it? I can't fathom it. I don't know. I want to know. I want to know. But I'm sure women want to know the same thing, right? But he does at least feel her tits. And then she plays with the dick. She's like slapping it around. She calls it like a floppy anteater and stuff. And she's like, peeing standing up's pretty cool. That's hilarious. And she's like, do I wipe? It's so great. Like, you don't know what the other sex does with their genitals, in more private settings like that. It's pretty funny to see like a 16, 17, how old is she? 17, 18, somewhere in that area. Kind of exploring this. And then her friends are fun too, for sure. They get some good lines out of them. I know some people could maybe find some of the dialogue a little too woke or something, but it never bothered me. I feel like everything feels organic to the character. Doesn't feel forced at all. And then, of course, we get a frozen and broken scene here. The girl's frozen in a cryotherapy tank, which they have those at a high school. Really, how well funded is this high school? That football team must be freaking going to state, because that's crazy. That's seriously like intense. But anyways, he freezes her in there, and then she breaks on the ground, which you'd have to be so frozen. You'd have to be frozen to the core for that to happen. But it makes for a good kill in the movie. And then she gets some power, right? She's this big 6'4" guy, 6'5", something like that. And some kid picks on her, and she immediately resorts to, intimidation and is threatening and uses her physical power to overpower somebody. It's like, and I get it. Like, she's been bullied and she doesn't want to take it anymore. She's Twisted Sister. And, but like, that's what happens, right? You get some power and then you kind of abuse it. And then she even brings it up later. And she's like, it's kind of nice to feel this powerful. And, it shows you like how quickly you can resort to using your physical presence and strength to your advantage. It's definitely a hard thing to keep in check. And people who don't have that don't understand that. So it is interesting how quickly she resorts to being like, well, I can pick you up and throw you against the wall and intimidate you now. So I'm going to use the fuck out of that. And I don't blame her, because that kid's a little piece of shit. But still, the point has been made. Let's see. Oh man, the line when the guy's like grabbing her ass and she like leans in and says, "You make my pussy drier than sandpaper, you fucking monkey. I can't wait to kill you." That is like my favorite line in the entire film. There's something about the way she delivers that, his look on his face, and then when she walks away and he's like, "She fucking wants me." That is so perfectly teenage boy. Like, never showing any sign of weakness and always claiming that every girl wants to fuck you. Or that every other girl has fucked you. Either one. Either lie. Just to look cool. The gay kid coming out as straight, I thought that was funny. Because I've always wondered that. Like, is there a person that's ever had to come out to their parents as straight? Or to anybody as straight? Be interesting. I'm sure it's happened. And those fucking jock kids that like lure her out there, and he's like, by my math, I see that you have 3 holes and there's 3 of us. Death, 100% death. I'm so glad. Just come on, man. Come on. Who talks like that? People like that don't change. You just got to get rid of them. And then Josh, the gay kid, of course, gets kissed by a football player. And then when he's like, "I don't have time for this right now," he's like, "Whatever, faggot," or something like. He calls him a fag. And he's like, "If you tell anybody, I'll beat the shit out of you or kill you," or some bullshit. This is all too real, of course, right? This is all way too real but that's just it. It's society's pressure for you to conceal who you are. And if we lived in a world where people just didn't care about that kind of stuff and no one ever had to worry about it, it was like you never needed to worry about if someone was gay or straight or bi. You just let that happen however it happens. Like, oh, you're into chicks? Like, oh, you're into dudes and chicks? Oh, whatever. It would just, I don't know. The fact that we have to all worry about, like, oh my God, they're gay? Oh my God, like, it's such a big deal. Like, how can that be such a big deal to people? Like, who gives a fuck? I seriously don't understand. I'll never understand that I've never understood it, and I never will. Like, why would I care that someone wants to be with someone of the same sex? I genuinely don't understand the concern or the worry or the problem. It does not make sense to me. I don't give a fuck. It's not me. So what do I care? Anyway, moving on. And I think I mostly spoke on everything. And of course, there's the convenience of things and the setting the alarm or the clock 5 minutes ahead or whatever. I knew as soon as I heard that line the first time I watched this movie, I was like 100% that's going to play into the time constraint of the film. Like, oh, they're trying to get beyond the clock and it's got to be at midnight. I'm like, that'll play into it. The second it was set, I was like, oh, that'll be. And then boom, the timer went off and I was like, here it comes. And they're like, wait, I didn't hear the bell, this and that. I was like, oh, come on. And then we get the 3 girls kicking his ass at the end, one by one, and they're like a unified family, which is great, right? It's that total shift in the dynamic of the family. He kind of helps them. He gets her over her fears of talking to this guy. He reunites this family that was kind of broken by all this loss. Like, as much of a terror as he is on other people in this movie, to that family, he's actually really good for them and actually gets them over a lot of hurdles. So they definitely are stoked to have him in their life after this is all said and done, because they are much stronger for it. But a fun movie for sure. Definitely would have liked to see more kills. The jock kills are fine. I remember this being gorier for sure. I think I just expected it to not be gory at all. So when there was some actual gore, I was like, oh wow, this is pretty gory. Upon second viewing, it's not super gory. I would have liked to have seen that, but for a mainstream cinema film, who knows? Maybe that was as much as he could get the studio to allow him to do. I could see that definitely being a possibility, especially with like Blumhouse or something. But we'll see with like Halloween Kills. That seems like it's gonna be gory as fuck. I think this was Blumhouse, right? I mean, they did the Happy Death Days and all that other shit, so I gotta assume this is Blumhouse as well. Is it? Is it not? I don't know. I'm just assuming here, but I'm gonna go with a pretty high probability. Anyways, I gotta get to bed. Anyway, what do you guys think? What do you think of the setup? What do you think of the lighting? Let me know. Adios.